Okay, goodness gracious. Hello everybody, good afternoon, welcome back to the channel Butterfly Square Garden, a place where you can be free to be yourself without reason. This is going to be another orchid video in response to my last orchid video called Growing Orchids with Intuition, something like that. I was converting my Phalaenopsis and my Rhyncholalia glauca twin babies to water culture, which some people asked, is that just sitting in stagnant water? No, it is not. Do your research. The person that I learned from had a lot of good information, and I combined that with my experience of the actual climate when I lived in Hawaii for 9 months. And these, as you may know, are actually tropical plants. While they do grow on bark and in moss, they don't technically need to. And in fact, these babies, my Rhyncholalia glauca, which you can barely see because I have, is that better light? Yeah, that's better. But now you can't see my Phalaenopsis. Anyways, that's a little better. So yeah, these two, all three of them came in moss, and they're really not exactly suited for moss. The flower stems, which came from the Phalaenopsis, are suited for moss because they don't have roots, they don't have leaves. There's really nothing to rot away. And what I've learned from the videos is that soggy roots will rot, but they will adapt to some degree to actually sitting in water. I let them dry out, but we're still working on it. Anyways, I was concerned for a second because my Phalaenopsis leaves drooped, and that is just common with repotting and with old leaves. And it has a lot of leaves, 1, 2, 3, 3 on each side, which drooped, but then there were 2 that are going straight up, and then there's another new leaf that was growing out. So we've got new growth coming all over the place, and it's straight, firm, turgid. That's all good. That's all good. We've got air roots coming all the way down the side with green tips, and a ton of roots, and a ton more roots that are growing and branching. It's currently sitting in mineral water right now. This is its container. You can see there's a little bit of water, mineral water as well. I use Topo Chico. Topo Chico, I learned about this in Texas, but it's really from Mexico. Tastes really good. It's just mineral water, and these plants really like mineral water, but it's also a little carbonated, and I know that they don't like to drown, so hey, what better than to have lots of bubbles? So yeah, the Rhyncholalia glauca, they did suffer root damage, but after I took them out of the medium, they've really just been healing from the damage from the old medium and adapting to what they're in now. I use way less liquid for them, but we'll get into that. So this is how I clean the container. I'll say maybe once a day I'll dip it, but maybe every other day I'll let it soak for a minute, because who knows. In Hawaii, every once in a while it'll rain for like 3 days straight, so these plants better get used to being soaked. So that's why I'm soaking the roots. I want to make sure that that's good. In the meantime, I'm going to pour out the water from its container. I'll get rid of this later, but this is where my Insidium Sherry baby is going to go after her flower spike. Wait for after her flower spike. But I just repotted it in the bark because I saw it was doing really well. New growths all over. Okay, so I take a paper towel. This is what I learned how to do from the video on the internet. And you wipe around the edge. I could have dumped out a little more. You dump it all out, but then you go around the edge and you wipe it up. I don't really use anything to clean it because she kept talking about having a microbiome. Anyways, so all clean and empty. What do I do next? This is going to be something new. This is why I'm recording a video. My Phalaenopsis, the new leaves are really beautiful. They're bright, they're shiny. There's no dust, but the other ones have dust. And on top of that, these air roots on the side have never really gotten wet before, but they're still growing, and I know that at some point they expect to reach water. I've seen someone have air roots just sitting. We'll get to that, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it in the water because I don't want to get... This is soapy water. It's just a little bit of dish soap mixed with water. I showed you, these are the spikes, the flower spikes. I had to have that in the video, but I need room to show you what I'm going to do now. So everyone can move over just a little bit. First, I'm going to spray it with soapy water. The lady on the internet let it sit for 15 minutes, but I'm not going to do that because it's really not that. I can move that now that my phal is gone. I love my Orchid Glob because it's going to take a million years from the flower, but who knows? Everyone's doing really well. That's what this video is about. So I want to clean the leaves, but I don't want to damage them in any way. They can get wet. They get rained on all the time. Hawaii is all about, it's called the rainbow state because it's always raining every day, like 3 times a day. So these guys are used to getting wet, but they're not used to sitting in water. And if you're not using a medium, they need nutrients from somewhere. And that's why I'm using mineral water. Other people mix their own, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to mix my own. I want to be really cute and use a Topo Chico. So, again, this is my first time doing this. I'm leaving it in the water because I don't want to get soap on the roots. I don't really know what that's going to do, but I'm spraying it with soap water first. And then I'm going to take it out of the medium right after I do this. Yeah, good. I don't know if you saw me do any of that, but so yeah, I soaped it all up. It's all cute. I'm putting this down. I'm not gonna do this with them just yet. I don't know what's going on with them. I also saw people using another what's it called? Hydrogen peroxide on the roots. I don't have that. Otherwise, I would have used it for the video. But I want to spray that on the roots next. It looks clean. So now this is just plain old water, tap water, and I'll clean the floor. Actually, no. There, I have a towel on the floor, so I have a towel. Or do this in the bathroom or something. But this is me spraying off all the water. I mean the soap, because I don't really want to leave soap on it. But soap. They say it's really safe for the animals, like the cute little ducklings in the commercial. Alright, so now I'm going to pour out a little bit. Dear God, don't hurt your phals. If you can't do this with a gentle hand, don't even try. Leave it in the pot. Some people have orchids, it blooms once, it dies. What can you do? But I learned that orchids grow continuously because in Hawaii there is no winter. So once they're done blooming, they go straight into making more leaves and roots. I'm going to maybe put the towel a little higher, but yeah, this time I'm actually gonna kind of get the air roots wet. And I noticed that when you get a dry root wet, it turns green. But when they dry out, they turn white. If they're mushy, they turn brown and then black. That means they're rotting. Drooping leaves means that they're stressed. But look at those roots. Can you even look at those roots? That's a lot of healthy roots. Does that look like a rotten root to you? No, it's got green tips, even the ones sitting in the water. So, for all you non-believers, you gotta live in Hawaii a little bit to know what you're talking about. Great. So now, before I put this back in here, I want it to dry out a little bit. So it's got one side where all the air roots are growing, so I'm going to lay it down on the other side. I'll have to figure out a way to hang these up in a better way later. So now I'm going to do the same thing with these two, then I'm going to go into a close-up with the camera. So, this is the Wrinklealia glauca, two of them. It does have green roots. I wet it yesterday, and it does have some white roots, which are the green ones that dried out. It's got the roots without the meaty fiber, because the meaty fiber rotted, but you don't want to cut the root off. You want to leave that. So I'm just going to give this whole thing a spritz, because let's pretend it's raining that day. But you don't want to go crazy. It's just enough to get it wet, because once it's wet, they absorb the water like a sponge, and then they retain the water. And that's like what we don't want. So that's why I have a towel down, so that this can immediately start to dry off. And I'm about to turn the fan on full blast, and I'm also going to maybe dab at this with like a paper towel. Let's do this one now. Again, I ordered one Wrinklealia glauca, and I took it out of the medium, and I was cleaning the roots, and I noticed that I thought it was two plants, so I separated it, and neither one of them went yellow, neither one of them went black, neither one of them drooped. It's growing new roots, green ones or white ones, whatever. The old ones, I took off as much of the medium and the rotting root as I could. And now I'm just keeping an eye on it. I don't know. I had the Phalaenopsis first, and then I got the Insidium next. I ordered this one for myself as like a little special present, because it blooms at the night time, and I don't have a night blooming phal yet. I can't say I have a favorite, but I'm really happy with the Insidium. So yeah, I just gave it a little spritz, so that it's wet all over. I'm not going to do that with my Sherry baby right now, because she's not water culture. She is not used to this. I don't want to stress her out. So this is all extra. I'm going to dump this out just so it's all in one spot. I'll dump that on a plant later, because it's still mineral water. I still want to use that for something. Don't just waste your money, guys. So I don't really need this anymore. Let's get that out of the way, but not somewhere I'll kick it over, because that would be bad. Clean up the floor a little bit. Yeah. Gonna clean out. Oh crap! I still need to dump these out. So, dumping out the old water, and again, I always have a little bit of mineral water, Topo Chico, on the bottom. I want them to adapt, and I'm thinking I think in nature they'll fall in like a crack of a tree, and that crack of a tree will have water because it rains all the time. So it will sit in water, but it will grow out, and the growths don't like sitting in the water, but they're still exposed to water at least 3 times a day. But they're also like on top of a tree or a mountain or something. So they need really they'll dry out like immediately, because it rains and then it's gone, and then it rains and then it's gone. So keep all your stuff clean. Bacteria is what leads to root rot. I'm not going to use the same towel to dab those off. So I'll do maybe like a little, like a shaky. I'll like tap the roots. But pretend that you've got a baby here, guys, and you can't just like, your baby's got sensitive skin. So I'm not a rubber, I'm a dabber. Same thing with my fowl. But I've never really spritzed them down like this before. So I need to really be careful that they dry out. I'm not worried really that they'll go bad. Like, I don't think that the water really hurt them, as long as it dries off really well. So first time for anything, I'm gonna sit them in front of the fan, but the trick is to put them back in the containers with just enough. I guess that's what I'm gonna end up doing, and then I'm gonna set them all in front of the fan. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So you probably can't even see what I'm doing. Very carefully put your creature, because it's a living thing, your creature. I'm gonna do that from now on. Very carefully put it back in its container. Do your best to dry it off, but you know, like I said, sometimes in Hawaii it rains for like 3 weeks straight. So as long as there's airflow going and it's got a little bit of water, I think it'll probably be okay. So drop, 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 get the little water drops. And then here's where the intuition comes in. I've been told that the water needs to always be touching the roots at least a little bit. But what they can't tell you is how much, how long. It all depends on the environment that you're in. And the environment that I'm in is I have the time and the energy to look at it. I'm very interested in looking at it. Like, these babies are under observation. So if there's anything, if they change from good to bad, I will know, because after a while you learn how to speak plant. So I didn't see any root rot. I didn't see any, because I've cleaned them off enough times that all the bad stuff is pretty much gone. Anything left over is no longer going bad, but it is also growing new roots. And again, I'm sorry I'm in the shadows. I'm really trying here. So yeah, I put a little bit in the water. I mean, I'll just do it. I'll just freaking do it. Get enough to touch the root tips. I love the sound of when I pour it. And the people say mark your thing, but I don't really do that. It looks like I'm pouring a lot in, but I don't change the water out every day. I change the water out like